distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
Here at Fields and Brown Barbershop, legacy means a lot. We're trying to fill big shoes left by my two uncles and my grandfather, where every haircut came with conversation and every customer left a little taller than when they walked in. The barbershop is about pride. It's about knowing your barber knows your name and your story. Come see us at Fields and Brown Barbershop, where tradition never goes out of style. 3 generations, 1 legacy, your barbershop.
Arctic Air keeps your home or business comfortable. For more than 20 years, we've provided outstanding residential and commercial services through southern Middle Tennessee. Whether you need assistance with your heat, air conditioning, preventive maintenance, or anything in between, trust our reliable team to get the job done. We'll take the time to figure out your specific needs and recommend what we believe is right and best for your situation.
We've been using Arctic Air for over 15 years now. Their service is great, they're here when we need them, and their prices are competitive. They take the worry out of the heat and air so I don't have to.
Arctic Air. When you need us, we'll be there.
Financial advisor Scott Beasley knows time spent with family is everything. As a founder of Beasley Wealth Management, his mission is to give clients the freedom to enjoy time with family without the burden of financial concerns. A local of Lawrenceburg, Scott deeply values building relationships with clients, ensuring they make informed decisions concerning asset management, tax planning, and retirement planning. Offering a free initial consultation, Beasley Wealth Management helps clients pursue their aspirations with confidence.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
And welcome everybody here to X Sports today. AJ Good with Taylor Plott, Bryant Gobble, and Michael Marks. Guys, all hauled up in here feeling nice and cozy because the weather outside is frightful, but inside the X Sports studio is so delightful.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, I didn't even plan that. I just, I thought about it and just ran with it.
No, it is frightful outside, to say the least.
Yeah, so how was the weekend? How you guys feeling week 11 into college football? We're week 12 in the high school football.
Man, the ACC is a total mess.
I was just about to say that.
Saturday just completely messed the entire ACC up, and I think that's what's great about college football, because now we have one of the 4 major conferences, and we have no idea what's going to happen with them.
As a Tennessee fan, I enjoyed the week off, even though the Oklahoma loss still stings. I still don't really want to think about football. I was actually a little more tuned in to Tennessee basketball because they had a couple of games. So basketball team's looking good. But from a football standpoint, really interesting week. Alabama still looks good. Indiana, I'm sure we'll get into some of this, but Indiana, what a play right there to end the game. NFL standpoint, a lot of good games on yesterday. The Titans are still a dumpster fire, even though it was their bye week. You could still say they're not too good. High school football, man. What about Lawrence County? I was fired up. I wasn't at the game with you guys, but, man, I was fired up for Lawrence County getting that win. So, good weekend all around.
Yeah, definitely good weekend. I kind of did a little bit what you did. It's in that transition period between now you've got basketball popping up. So, definitely tuned into the Alabama-St. John's game, which was literally felt like a March Madness game from the get-go. I mean, that was incredible. Tennessee is looking good on the basketball side, too. I'm with Michael. I mean, the ACC it's a mess, but it's more than in the SEC. We can say we can beat each other up, but it's like you can beat each other up, but you still have your really good teams that usually make it to the top and can go through the season relatively unscathed. The ACC this year is a completely different animal. It's anybody can beat you on any given Saturday, and it happens, and you don't have a true dominant team where it's not the Miami, Florida State, and Georgia Tech that we kind of thought from the get-go. Now it's a Virginia and Louisville and Georgia Tech, and I mean Miami's still in there, but everybody's just losing.
Yeah.
And then the Indiana game, I'm kind of shocked. Well, I say that I'm shocked, but I'm also not shocked. I'm shocked that Indiana didn't put up more points than I thought that they would. I thought that they would not necessarily win very handily, but they would win by a comfortable margin. But give all credit to Penn State. They fought hard in that game, and it literally came down to centimeters from being what they were down at that point. So Penn State was just centimeters away from actually pretty much winning the ball game.
One of the greatest catches I've ever seen in a big game situation. I mean, the catch itself wasn't the part. It was the not one, but he gets both feet down. And credit to that official, right on top of it, seeing it, and immediately puts his hands up.
Yeah, the fact that he got the call right on the field initially, because I saw that and he threw his hands up. No way he got his foot down. No way. And then you saw the replay, and that left foot scraped, and then that right foot. And, it was just amazing.
It's right. You know, and the ACC had the night game like they had it all on track. Because, you know, other than that, we're watching some of Bama LSU, but that game kind of went, for the most part, how we thought that would go. And you got, like, Virginia struggles with Wake Forest the whole time. And Louisville's playing. And Louisville and Cal are moving the ball up the field, but in the second half, everything just kind of slows down, kind of trudges down a little bit. And Louisville had ample opportunity to win that game. Whereas I think Virginia was just at enough distance, and Wake Forest kept them at enough distance that they just couldn't figure them out. And even when they're driving there late, it didn't feel, at least watching, like it was a given Virginia was going to score there. And it turned out to be not the case. And still at the end of it, Virginia is in this big tie with Georgia Tech, Pitt, SMU, and Duke at one loss.
Yeah, it's
the ACC.
It's crazy because Duke could realistically make it to the ACC championship game at 8-4 and have a chance to make it to the playoff, which is just insane. How crazy bad they've done out of conference. Yeah. But that Louisville Cal game was just up and down really the entire first half, like you said it. Cal's quarterback, they are 4-1 when he doesn't throw an interception this season. Didn't have a turnover, and look how much better Cal looked in this game. Because I mean, this is the same team that struggled with UNC 2 weeks ago.
One of the funny things is, so who's the OC at Cal? Is Brian Harsin.
Yep.
And the play that they did to beat Louisville is the play that Bama did against them to beat them in overtime.
Oh.
Exact same play, exact same result.
Are you talking about the one to John Mechie, the one that
one that he kind of breaks in and goes back out to the pylon? Yep.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, when you look at their remaining schedules, Duke has got Virginia next week, I believe. They do, and then they're at North Carolina, home versus Wake Forest, which Wake Forest has proven to be not an easy out. Georgia Tech, they have got Boston College, then home versus Pitt, home versus Georgia. Pretty tough slate there. Pitt has the best opportunity of anybody, not only to make the ACC, but if they win out, they might be able to clinch their name in the CFP, because if they got Notre Dame at home, at Georgia Tech, home versus Miami, all of them in the top 25 right now.
And it's crazy that if they played these teams earlier in the season, that's three top 10 matchups. They would have lost all three of them because they hadn't had their quarterback situation figured out. But, man, that offense is humming up and down the field every night. Pitt is one of the big shockers this year for sure.
Their two losses, both by one score, one in overtime, one to Louisville. So, they're tough out. And when they win, they win big, guys. They put up a lot of points. So that's crazy. You know, Pitt's the only one that's seemingly facing all of these tough teams. I think SMU is pretty much in the clear. Yep. Well, no, they got Louisville next week. Louisville and Cal. Well, it just says TBD. Maybe they have a bye week. Maybe
that is Friday.
Oh, it's Friday. Gotcha. Okay. So, again, the ACC is wide open, and more than likely, one big league. It's the way it's turning out right now.
Yeah, they're at a point right now where they would need like a Georgia Tech to get in, make the conference championship game at 11-1, and then somebody else upset them. But even then, Georgia Tech might drop out. So I think at this point, it's probably going to be a one-bid league.
Yeah. I think so, too. I mean, again, you just went through the conference standings. I mean, Georgia Tech, Virginia, Pitt, those are all ranked. And then you go to SMU and Duke. And you said Duke has 4 losses. I mean, but theoretically,
they're 4-1 in the ACC.
They're 4-1 in the ACC. Theoretically, they could make a run for the conference champion. And how funny would it end up being if the only bid the ACC got was an unranked Duke,
an 8-4 team,
an 8-4 team? I mean, it is absolutely wide open. And if I had to pick somebody right now, I would think Georgia Tech's probably they've shown to be the most consistent and at least well-rounded team, but they've even shown that they can easily get beat.
It's the hottest team right now.
Yeah.
And they're getting, and if they can beat a top 10 Notre Dame, that skyrockets them in a big way. And then you beat for Georgia Tech, and then you beat Miami. All 3 of those are ranked in the top 25 of the CFP. That's serious street cred.
Yeah.
Now they can't have a third loss, but that's serious street cred.
Well, this is interesting. Just real quick, I'm just looking at like the records and such. So they have points for and points against. The 2 teams in the ACC that have allowed less than 100 points so far in this season are SMU and Miami.
Yeah.
SMU's defense. I mean, there you go.
They've been able to get it done.
Don't sleep on them if they're able to have that defense still up there. But what were you gonna say?
Well, I was asking, what is the ACC championship like? How do they determine? Is it the 2 highest records in the conference?
None of the Power Fours do conferences. I think the only FBS conference that has divisions is the Sun Belt.
Yes, they still got it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, could you potentially have Georgia Tech and Pittsburgh play in the regular season coming up here in a couple weeks, and they meet again?
I think the rest of them around need losses.
Yeah.
You need a lot of things to break your way.
But you could have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is setting up to where we're going to have another toxic conversation of, do you allow a 2-loss SEC team in over like a 1-loss ACC team? That's what it's going to boil down to. You're going to have just this weird scenario where if you're wanting to get a second ACC team in behind whoever wins the ACC championship, you're just going to compare them to another, like the 3rd or 4th best Big Ten team, or the 3rd or 4th best, maybe even the 5th best SEC team. That's what it's going to. You're going to start having those conversations at the end of the year. Who deserves it more?
The thing, I'm with you on that. You're going to have those conversations, and it then brings up the conversation where obviously people are going to be unhappy, but some people are going to be fine with it. And then the question becomes, all right, well, what is the true model that needs to be done with college football in the playoff? I think going to the 12th team was the right decision to do. Do you go beyond that? I'm not sure. But the way that I've always felt of recent is, if you had to choose a path that was like, okay, well, this is it, and it makes the most sense potentially, is you just end up doing stuff that the NFL does, where you don't have technical rankings, but you just have your so-called divisions within leagues or something, and it's the top 2. You get your division winner, and then you get a wild card or something in. And who cares about what the rankings are and everything like that? At the end of the day, it's just based on your record, and not only who you play, but also within your respective leagues. That's, from my point of view, that's, if you had to do something that made the most sense to where it's like, okay, well, nobody can really be complaining about it, you would have to go that route. I don't think they will, but I mean, once again, we're going to have an argument, just like you said, where are you going to have a 2-loss SEC over a 1-loss ACC?
Well, you could be in the Big 12 situation right now. Texas Tech dominates BYU, which really no one should be shocked by. So those two are, they're at the top of the Big 12 standing. Cincinnati is right behind there, but BYU gets them in 2 weeks. They got TCU next, which is an easy out, even though it's at home. Then they're at Cincinnati, home versus UCF. Texas Tech has got a bit of a easier path, judging by it, that they're they get a week off. No, they're at UCF, week off at West Virginia. So you could have 2 11-1 Big 12 teams going into the championship game. Obviously, one win that gets in. But if anything, the losers should knock out the other ACC team for another spot to get in. Because if you have 2 11-win teams, obviously the champion will be 12-1 and the other one's 11-2. You got to reward somewhat 11 wins and making it to your conference championship game.
Well, and then you could have the nightmare scenario where Cincinnati beats BYU in 2 weeks, and then everything is just up in the air.
They've got 2 losses, and that turns into a must-win for Texas Tech.
Yeah, exactly at that point. And then at that point is the Big 12 a one-bid league. You have a 2-loss BYU that's not in the conference championship game, and a 2-loss Cincinnati that is in the conference championship game. I'm not sure if either of those are respected enough to get that last spot.
No, they don't have the name recognition yet. Now, if this was the 80s and 90s, BYU did.
Oh, yes.
And some parts of the early 2000s. Well, let's get into that Indiana game because, for the most part, guys, Indiana, they looked good in the first half, and then Penn State really turned it on there in the second half, and you started to think, okay, Penn State, this might be the win that everyone's thinking that was going to come eventually. And then that incredible drive. Indiana just made one big play after another, that great catch in the back of the end zone. And then on top of that, Penn State gets inside Indiana territory and has the 3 worst plays that you could have. He was out of bounds. Yeah. I'm so convinced he was out of bounds. I'm even more convinced now he was out of bounds. There's a play in Columbia. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a rant. Play in Columbia where not only was the kid out of bounds, he falls down and doesn't retain possession. That's 2 things. Feet in bounds, hold on to the football. He had nothing, and the guy still gave him a first down. He was out. Anyways, they won the game. That's all that matters.
But, hey, you look at Omar Cooper, he did get his feet in bounds with possession. I mean, he made 2 big catches on that last drive, and I do kind of want to say this about Indiana, though. It feels like Fernando Mendoza is putting them almost in bad situations so he can have a heroic moment. Because I remember the pick 6 he had against Oregon, and then he drives down the field and scores again and gives Indiana the lead. Does the exact same thing right here. Throws a pick 6. Penn State gets the lead back and then leads them down the field with that last-minute drive. And boy, Penn State was just sending 7 and just praying they got to the quarterback that last drive. They were not playing any sort of zone or pass defense. They were going to force Mendoza to make a play, and he did.
I was in class. I was taking a couple of graduate classes in New Orleans, and we had a weekend class. And I went into class, and I think the fourth quarter was about to start, and Indiana was up 10, I believe. I was like, they got it handled. Little did I know that Penn State was driving, and they get touchdown to make it 20-16, 20-17 with the PAT. They score again. That was after the interception, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they go up 24-20, and an incredible catch. I didn't catch the whole game. I did catch the end with that final drive. Yeah, I guess it's you can look at it as if Indiana can't score a touchdown there, like it's Mendoza's fault for throwing an interception, letting them go up there in the fourth quarter. But you got to give credit where credit due. Good teams find ways to win, and Indiana's been that team this year. I guess, is that the closest scare that they've had?
I think so.
It's close. I mean, they had a close game with Oregon.
I would say realistic chance of losing. This was probably their highest chance, but man, like you said, props to them for good teams find ways to win. They found a way to win,
and that's been the theme so far. I mean, there really hasn't. If you look up and down college football, you could just technically say Ohio State and Indiana are probably the most dominant so far, just based on the games that they've played, where they usually win by a decent margin. But still, you look at the teams that are getting tested. Indiana is now getting tested, or at least that they were tested against Penn State. And the same thing, they find a way to win. Georgia finds a way to win. All these other teams that are in the top 5 or top 6 have found ways to win when their backs are up against the wall. And I feel like this was a test for Indiana because up until this point, I don't think Ohio State has really been tested. They were tested a little bit against Penn State, but that second half they really just ran away with it.
Tested in the one quarter against Purdue.
One quarter against Purdue. But this was the first time that Indiana was legit back against the wall. If they don't have this, they're probably losing the game, and they find a way to get it done.
And every great team has a game like this. I mean, we can reel off example. I mean, how many times did Alabama have great teams and they go to like South Carolina and struggle like this year, or go to Mississippi State and Tua gets hurt or something like that? LSU had their struggles not many, but they had a couple struggles in the earlier years. I always remember the year Michael Vick took Virginia Tech to the national championship game. He needed a last-second drive, this amazing play, and like a 50-yard field goal to beat a bad 4-7 West Virginia team.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Things
happen like that.
It reminds me also of Auburn in the crazy year that they went to the national championship with Nick Marshall.
Two
incredible plays.
Yep.
Good teams are going to catch that magic and find ways to win. And I mean, you have your general, you have your captain Mendoza leading you down the field on the final drive. Like that's all you can ask for at the end of the day. And they executed. Yeah. He had a great play to win. So I mean, Indiana has really impressed me.
Yeah, absolutely. Some other games, guys. USC dominates Northwestern. That game was somewhat close, but they really kind of turned it on there in the second half. A&M dominates from start to finish against Missouri.
I was kind of shocked about that one, the way they just dominated it.
A&M's the real deal. I'll give it to them. They were dominant both through the air and on the ground.
I just think their offense is so much better away from home than what they are at home. If you look at yards, total points, explosive plays, they're better away from home.
And that's one of the things you need to look for a great team is obviously people say, okay, well, you dominate at home, but what do you do on the road? And if they can flip a switch and make it even better, that is a great team, and A&M does that.
Yeah, because what's crazy, the national championship game is played at a random stadium. It's not played at Kyle Field, so they'll need to be able to play well elsewhere.
Georgia, after a tough start, I mean, no doubt. 21 points in the second quarter. They scored 35 points there in the middle and left no down in that game. Ole Miss just goofs around with the Citadel because they got off to a great start there. Oregon, okay. That's a good win.
Yeah.
They went on the road. We all said that I think all of us thought in our minds it's going to be low scoring, but Iowa's going to find a way to win it. It was certainly looking that way. But give the Ducks credit. That's a really good win on the road in the rain. I don't know how much you guys watched, but it
was in the rain.
It was awful.
Tailor-made for Iowa.
Yeah.
And Oregon goes in there and wins. That's a very impressive win.
It is, and yet again, this is Iowa. I hate to use this term or this phrase, but I do feel like it fits Iowa. They find a way to lose these games to where they have it. They went down the field when they needed to late in the fourth quarter and got the touchdown. Yeah, the 2-point conversion wasn't successful. That was huge because it ended up making it a 1-point game as opposed to a 3-point game. And they left way too much time on the clock for Oregon. But the thing is, their defense, if you look at the couple of Oregon possessions prior to that, Iowa's defense really started to kind of clamp down a little bit better. And then you go to that last one, it's like when you really needed that defense to do exactly what they've done, all of a sudden they feel like they're on their back foot. Right. And next thing you know, Oregon is like 3 plays and immediately in field goal range, and you're like, well, this is going to be it. They're going to kick the field goal and win. Sure enough, they did.
Yeah, and it's crazy because the two big moments in this game come down to the big guys, and Oregon won both of those fights. That safety in the first quarter, that's the 2-point difference, and then to 2 points leaning Iowa's way. That, like you mentioned, that 2-point conversion that they didn't get. That's a difference in the game right now. And listen, Oregon made the big plays, Iowa didn't, and that's why the Ducks got the win.
Also, looking at the stats, Oregon rushed for 261 yards. Like that's a big difference in a game like that, where Iowa only had 101. Iowa 43 attempts, 101 yards. Oregon less attempts, 36 attempts for 261. That's a pretty big disparity.
Yeah, getting 7 yards a clip at Iowa.
Yeah, against that defense, pretty good there. Miami takes care of business. Give Wisconsin credit. They finally put some money into the program. They pick up a top 25.
It's funny how that happens.
That was the worst game I have ever laid my eyes on. Unfortunately, I watched about half of this football game. The leading passer for Wisconsin was their punter. There were two touchdown drives in this game. One of them was 2 yards. The other one was 1 yard. Wisconsin somehow just had more points at the end of this one. It was an ugly one, but big win for the Badgers.
Win's a win. You'll take it when you're struggling like they have. Notre Dame takes care of business. Miami takes care of business. Alabama not shocked by. I mean, LSU benches Nussmeier.
Yeah.
I was
actually gave him a spark.
I know, and they went down the field. Still couldn't score any touchdowns, but I always like to compare scores. So, Bama had 4 scores in the game. LSU had 3 scores, but it's the quality of the scores. When Bama's got 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals, and you got 3 field goals,
that's a big difference.
That's a big difference. I mean, LSU maybe puts 2 or maybe 3. or obviously 3 touchdowns wins that game. But if you put 2 touchdowns on the board,
it's at least competitive.
And it probably changes how this game is played or how it's called and whatever. They just couldn't put the ball in the end zone.
Yeah, and I would say I watched a good bit of that one as well. And really, I mean, both teams, I'm not going to say struggled to move the ball, but it wasn't glamorous on either side. But listen, Alabama's defense just completely shut down LSU's offense, or what lack thereof. And, man, it's crazy. We had DJ Lagway and Garrett Nussmeier benched in the same week.
Yeah.
Crazy.
The thing from a game perspective, I felt like it went different than what I kind of thought it was going to be. I kind of felt like maybe what we thought it was going to be. I honestly thought that LSU was going to come out and be swinging and wanting to play, and that was not the case. They struggled early. Alabama also struggled early, but obviously found a way to score throughout the game. One of the big things that worries me about from an Alabama perspective is the way the running game has been.
I was going to bring that up.
It's not where you want it to be. It's very sporadic. I'm trying to think of some of the games where it actually felt like the running game was becoming a little bit established. I think it was done a little bit in the South Carolina game. In the Vanderbilt game, I felt like it was also kind of established to a certain extent. But if you want to be able to perform not only in an SEC championship game, but also look forward to the playoffs and potentially go for a national championship, you need to pick up the slack on some of this running game stuff, because as good as Ty Simpson can be, you can't just rely on that, and I think that's a big question mark right now.
I was actually driving through Tuscaloosa on my way back from New Orleans while this game was going on. Place is a ghost town, by the way. You wouldn't think there's anything going on. It's like, where's all the people? And you look off to the left of the highway, and there's the shining lights of Bryant Denny. It's like, oh, everybody's
over there.
Yeah, no, we could get through town easily on our way back. I was kind of nervous because it took a wrong exit, which put us going through Tuscaloosa. I'm like, there's a game going on. We're going to hit traffic. No shot. We went right through.
Second half, it probably
picked up a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. No, I was watching this game, and yes, the rushing disparity is going to cause Alabama issues here as we get towards the postseason if that doesn't get fixed. Guess who had the longest rush of the day? It was not a running back.
Ty Simpson.
Ty Simpson? Yeah.
Ty Simpson had a long of 17. Jeremy Bernard's long of 3. Daniel Hill 6. Other running backs 5. Long of 2. Long of 7. Long of 7. And then Ty Simpson long of 17. So they rushed the ball 26 times for 56 yards, and that's 17 of those 56 yards came on one play.
It did.
That's just kind of crazy to me. Alabama needs to fix that. They can't let Ty Simpson. I guess they can get in a shootout and they can just throw the ball everywhere. They have the receivers too. Like, how good is Ryan Williams? Right?
Yeah.
He's great, but. They've got to fix that. I haven't watched it close enough. Do we feel like it's an offensive line thing? Do we feel like it's a running back thing? I don't know.
I don't think it's a running back thing. I really think it's an offensive line thing, because that has been an issue for the majority of the year where, you can look at Simpson and he's finding his receivers. I think that the receivers are just really good enough to where you wait for a couple of seconds, they're going to be open and you can get the ball out pretty quickly. But if you watch, the offensive line has really struggled to run block. They pass block okay, but a lot of times Simpson's going to have to kind of roll out of the pocket and he'll find somebody. But I really think it's the offensive line issue, because you look at the running backs and they're not bad. And when they are able to get out into space, they run and they do damage and they score. But there's just something going on with the offensive line where the run blocking is not up to par. Pass blocking's iffy too.
Other big SEC game. How about Auburn? New coach. Man, they came out swinging in this game. Vandy needed all they could, eventually won in overtime there. I think Auburn just ran out of a bit of gas there at the end, especially.
They haven't run that much up and down the field the entire season.
I was about to say, why have they not done a hurry up? Because they are fantastic in the hurry up.
I mean, because that's kind of the basis of Hugh Freeze's offense, which is...
Well, yeah. Why didn't you get the ball to Cam Coleman more either? He had 10 receptions for 143 yards and amazing snag on the touchdown and a 2-point conversion. Yeah. Like, what was Hugh doing? Like, what does he not realize, like, his best players need to get the ball?
I would say this is the same team that scored 3 points last week against Kentucky in an entire football game.
38 the following game. That's
but
crazy.
I think this game says more about Vanderbilt than it does about Auburn, because Vanderbilt, ran with them. I mean, obviously Auburn's offense hasn't done that all year, but that was Vanderbilt's first win ever, giving up 38 points or more. They were 1 in 170 or 0 in 170 coming into this game. Got the big win. Pavia goes for almost 500 yards and 4 touchdowns. That dude's tough to stop.
The thing I take away from that, and I feel like everybody could pretty much see this coming, which was something was up with the way that he was wanting to run this offense. And all of a sudden, here you come with DJ Durkin, and I know he's not calling the plays. I don't think he was. But, I mean, look at the offense now. It's like you had that firepower. We knew Auburn had these athletes. They've had these athletes for a long time, but there was just something going on within the coaching ranks that ended up being more of a burden than it needed to be. And sure enough, here you go with Hugh Freeze gone. The offense has opened up, and obviously you can say, okay, well they lost anyway. Well, I look at it almost as like a win, even though you lost, because at least you now know what you're capable of doing. So whoever's playing Auburn towards the end of the year, obviously Alabama has the Iron Bowl. I mean watch out, because if they continue the way that they showed that they could play on Saturday, they can beat anybody. They can play with anybody.
I'm glad. That was the most points that Auburn had given up this year by 3 touchdowns. They hadn't given up more than 24 all year, but 45 to Vanderbilt.
I'm glad Vanderbilt won. I can't wait for Tennessee to come in. They're them to roll into Tennessee and Knoxville. They're feeling good at 9-2. They're like, playoff spot on the line, and you get reminded who the big brother is in the state. I'm glad that Vanderbilt won to keep that game important at the end of the year.
That is a very important game.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's look at the games coming up next week, guys. Friday, kind of looking a little bit interesting. Clemson at Louisville. I mean, Louisville's still alive there in the ACC. Clemson can play. Build spoiler. Hey, some momentum after beating Florida State pretty convincingly. Yeah. Minnesota's at Oregon. Minnesota's not going to be a pushover in that game. The Vols got New Mexico State, Wisconsin, Indiana, South Carolina at A&M, Notre Dame at Pittsburgh. That's going to be a huge one there at noon. Michigan at Northwestern, Oklahoma at Bama. It's going to be really interesting. UCF at Texas Tech, Virginia at Duke. A lot in the ACC. It feels like every ACC game has a lot on the line. Georgia Tech at Boston College, NC State at Miami, Iowa at USC. Still a lot on the line there for the Trojans. Florida at Ole Miss. You got Utah at Baylor, Purdue at Washington, UCLA at Ohio State, Texas and Georgia.
I like that one.
That's going to be
I like that one the most, I think.
That's going to be really big. And then TCU in some old Conference USA, Mountain West, Pac-12, Big 12 after dark.
They've been through all the conferences.
That poor group. So that's the schedule we got coming up for next week. So coming up next, guys, we will head to the NFL to check out all the action that went down in week number 10.
A local law firm respected throughout the state. Generations of clients have turned to Boston, Holt, and Durham since 1948. We assist individuals and businesses with their legal needs, including real estate, property closings, personal injury, employment discrimination, and family law. Our clients get the personal attention and convenience of a hometown law firm with the resources and ability to handle any case. Come see us at Boston, Holt, and Durham.
Since opening our doors in 1904, Builtwell Bank has existed to be the local economic engine for the communities we serve. No matter if you're buying a car, saving for retirement, or finally buying that forever home, Builtwell Bank is here to help. From personal checking and savings accounts to a full suite of business and commercial banking with treasury management services, we'll make sure you'll have a dedicated Builtwell banker that understands your unique needs and stands by you every step of the way. No matter where you are in Tennessee or Northwest Georgia, there's likely a Builtwell Bank location nearby. Come see us and let our dedicated financial team help you with all of your banking needs. Member FDIC.
fast, friendly, and reliable service is our promise to you. Because you're not just a customer, you're family. From multi-use linen to branded floor coverings and a complete range of cleaning supplies, C&B Linen is here to make sure you have everything you need. From our high-quality products to our fast, friendly, and reliable service, you'll experience the difference with C&B Linen. Because you're not just a client, you're part of our family. You'll be winning with C&B Linen.
Got a dent, a ding, a scratch, or a bent fender? Major or minor, Car Country Collision Center in Leoma can fix you up. Car Country works with all insurance carriers, gives free estimates, can work on foreign and domestic vehicles, and has experience you can trust. They've been in business since 1990. Unfortunately, accidents happen, but you can get your car back on the road with as little hassle as possible with the help of Car Country. Call 931-852-4708 or stop by at 2567 Highway 43 South in Leoma.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
Welcome back to X Sports Today. AJ Good with Taylor Plott, Bryant Gobble, and Michael Marks. Guys, it's time to get into the NFL portion of X Sports Today of our recap. And did the Titans play? No. All right, everyone's happy.
But they did win. No, they won. It's a great weekend to be a Titans fan because now you're not making the playoffs. That's fine. Yep. You want to develop Cam Ward, but you also don't want to win any more games because the number one pick is still on the table. Mm-hmm. So why was it a win? Well, because your biggest contenders for the number one pick, the Jets and the Saints, they both won. So that is a win for the Titans that they both won because now the Titans have a little more room, for a win or two and still have the number one pick in hand. And at that point, it becomes, do you take the pick? Do you trade it for someone who's really eager to move up to the number one spot? Titans are in a good spot as far as draft picks go with these two wins, even though they didn't play.
Do we know the projected number one pick right now?
I guess it depends on what team because if it's the Titans, it ain't going to be a quarterback, right? It's not Cam.
But,
basically every position.
I would say, but who is a best available? Like, do you just because you can't take Jeremiah Smith yet? He's got one more year. Boy, this year might be a rough draft, or at least not top heavy like the past couple have been.
It's going to be another probably running back heavy draft like it was last year.
Well, some breaking news coming into the NFL today, guys. Brian Daboll fired as the head coach of the Giants. Not too much of a shock there right now, even though some people don't find it to be the best move because of his relationship with Jackson Dart. However, there's a lot of people going, they gave him enough time. And they need a reboot.
Well, you look at some of the games that he's lost this year. They've lost like 4 games where they had the lead in like the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I'm blanking on the record. Were they 2-7, 2-6 right now, something like that?
2-8.
2-8,
and 6 away from home, so they're 2-2 at home.
And you take those games and actually turn them into wins. You're actually looking at a decent record.
And you're right, they were winning going into the fourth quarter. They're up 17-10.
I think it was some crazy stat that they hadn't won before this season. It was like week 4 or 5. They hadn't had a win in MetLife on home field in like 2 years or something like that. So
Well, there was one point where it was when Notre Dame and Navy played last year. They played at Lincoln Financial or something like that where they scored more touchdowns in that stadium than the Giants and the Jets had all year.
Or
something like that.
I definitely am okay with this move. I've thought that Brian Daboll they needed to move on a while ago. I just didn't think that it was there. I do think, and you can attribute this to more of front office general manager than Brian Daboll, but I do think they've hit on a lot of good draft picks.
Yes, they have.
They have a lot of talent on that team. Like Dart, even if Brian Daboll was pushing for Dart, like they drafted him, Dart seems like he has he has something. Like, he's got the stuff.
Right.
Scadaboo's panned out. Malik Neighbors is a recent pick that's panned out. Kayvon Thibodeau, all the defensive people that they have
Burns.
Burns,
is a really good player.
Right. They have a lot of really good pieces, and Dayball hasn't been able to do anything with it. So the excuses ran out for him, and it was time to move on and cut ties. And I guess now you're like, okay, does Dart not feel good with a new guy coming in? Like, Dayball and him had a good relationship. I guess that's the biggest question mark, but you had to move on. You got to get somebody new in and do something with all this talent that they have.
I always feel bad when rookie quarterbacks have their head coach fired because that just pulls their legs right out from under them, because that was the guy they had the relationship with. The offense kind of built around them, and now new guys coming in, and Jackson Dart's his guy. Well, what's he going to do with them?
To go off of what Bryant was saying, they have the talent, and it was shown. Like I just said, they had leads in 4 games in the fourth quarter. Very winnable games from that perspective, because you have a lead, and if they got wins, he's still there. I mean, that to me shows that it is not a talent issue. There's a coaching issue. There's something going on behind the scenes, because they're in these games. It's not like they're getting blown out week in and week out. No, they're putting up points, they're scoring, they're competing, but there's something that's not there, and usually that ends up being a coaching issue. And the head coach gets the axe for it. So I'm with you. I feel like this is kind of was going to happen if you thought maybe it was going to happen sooner, but I mean, here we are.
Yep. And let's go to the other games, guys. We already talked about the Thursday night game, or if you really want to call it 10-7 win over the Raiders at home. Even the Broncos are 5-0 at home. They just they can make 30-point comebacks, or they can win a 10-7 game against a bad team. The Colts come from behind. They got off to a great start. The Falcons kind of took over from there, then dominate in the fourth quarter. You can definitely point out to a lot of bad coaching decisions by Raheem Morris, some bad clock management there at the end of the first half, where they really had a chance to kind of add some points at the end to give yourself a little bit more of an advantage. And I mean, good win for the Colts, but I think it kind of feels more of a Falcons bumbled this game than the Colts won.
It's an indictment more on the Falcons. I agree. I don't even think Michael Penix looked that good either.
No.
He hasn't looked great this season. So the Falcons are in trouble, and they're gonna. I mean, this is supposed to be like they're building. They got their young quarterback. They locked up their star wide receiver. They drafted, some defensive pieces at the end, or this past year with the drafts.
Still got Bijan.
They still got Bijan. They have a lot of players, but they're not going anywhere. Like, where's the record to show for all the pieces that they have?
Raheem Morris. I mean, he's already coached in that division and put a franchise in the toilet.
Yeah.
He's kind of doing that here. I don't know why they thought higher. I mean, your other option was Bill Belichick. We see where that's gone, but there had to be better options than him and Bill Belichick.
I'm trying to remember when the discussion happened when he was supposed to be, or when he became head coach. It was it 2 years? Was it 2 years ago now?
I think this is the
second year.
Second year, yeah.
So going back and just kind of thinking who was available, and the question that because I literally was thinking about this the other day. Where was Sean Payton? Was he already at Denver?
He
was already Denver.
This is like his fourth year.
Okay,
Denver.
I could not remember if that was the case, because in my mind I was thinking, well, you could have plucked him, but you're right. I mean, he's already kind of tanked one franchise, so I mean, I understand people are going to get another chance, but you kind of think that, okay, well, is this going to end up becoming tank number 2? And even though I'm not necessarily would call myself a Falcons fan, I go for the Falcons. I like to see them succeed and win, but I mean, there's talent on that team, just like what we talked about with the New York Giants. There's talent on that team. They're in these games. They're competing in these games. They beat the Bills at home. And I mean, there's no way this team should have the record that they do. It should be a winning record right now. And the bad coaching decisions, time management. I mean, it's just going back to what you said. They already tanked one franchise, and you see what he's doing again. It's like, okay, well, he obviously hadn't. What's the point?
Like you're reverting back to your old self.
I think you could look for them to move on sooner rather than later, and not hold on.
Well, speaking of the Bills, how about the Dolphins? They just will not go away. They dominated that game from start to finish against Buffalo.
Yeah, and this was very similar to the game we just talked about where one running back just absolutely took over. Devon Achane was a beast in this game, had 170 yards on the ground, had another 50 through the air, 2 touchdowns. Was just an absolute monster, and if you couldn't stop him, you couldn't stop that offense.
Right. He was a monster because, the Bills looked just lackadaisical. They didn't have a pulse, and I think that's – the week before they beat the Chiefs, that is the Bills' Super Bowl to this point. That's their biggest game, their biggest accomplishment, their biggest rival is playing the Chiefs. And so they get them in the regular season. They have a big win at home. Then you got to go face a Dolphins team that it's kind of hard to get up for. It's interdivisional, but the Dolphins aren't really a team that you can just fire yourself up to go play Miami. So this was just a letdown game for the Bills. I would say it's more of an indictment on the Bills this season that they've had this letdown game. They had another letdown game a few weeks ago. That was just an embarrassing loss. I can't remember who that was against.
That's the Falcons.
Well, they had that game against the Patriots. No, it was the
Falcons. Should be.
Yeah, right there.
Oh,
right? Falcons.
Yep.
Yeah, so the Falcons beat that another not good team handling the Bills, and so they've got to get it figured out before. They've got to figure out how to be more consistent, I guess, because they've had these letdown games. They look like they're just disinterested, and they let a bad team come in and beat them. I guess the old phrase, any given Sunday, any team can beat anybody.
And I'm completely behind that. Real side note, Achane, I had to face him against the fantasy team. Yeah. That was horrible.
It was 4 running backs that went 40-plus points this week.
It was incredible, and unfortunately, I faced one of them.
He had 244.
I would say I had Jonathan Taylor 49 and a half.
Jeez. Yeah. But from the Bills' perspective, you're exactly right. This is an indictment on the Bills because if you go back and look at the past 3 years or something like that, the only losses that they usually have are against quality teams that they just end up getting into a defensive battle and they end up losing by 3 or a touchdown, and it's a losable game that you can actually be okay with.
Yeah.
This year it's completely different. You're losing against the Falcons. Now I get it. It was a road game in Atlanta, but still it's Atlanta who. Yes, they're talented, but you have way more talent than they do.
They're 3-6 right now.
Yeah, they're 3-6, and that's why are you losing that game? And then you go off and you lose to the Dolphins, which again have talent, but again are just struggling
mightily. They're talking about firing their coach.
Exactly, and I don't know what it is, but there's something different with the Bills this year where they get up for the games that mean the most, and they perform and they win. And then they don't get up for the games that don't mean the most, and unfortunately you lose, which hurts.
We were talking about last week who's going to come out of the division, the Patriots or the Bills. And
it's looking like the Patriots.
It looks like the Patriots. I was like, okay, I think I can see the Bills' path. But now I can see the Patriots' path.
Exactly.
Talking about that game, the Patriots go into Tampa, really good team.
Yep.
Win the game 28-23. The Patriots are now 5-0 away from home.
Yeah.
Only team in the NFL that's perfect away from home. And listen, I think that says a lot about the team and the mentality in that locker room. And listen, I feel like this team embodies Mike Vrabel. Drake May's been playing awesome. Travion Henderson had a big coming out party yesterday, over 140 yards and 2 touchdowns for him. This New England team is finding new guys to pretty much, I guess you could say, make superstars. Like Mac Hollins goes over 100 yards yesterday. They just got a bunch of young pieces, and they're a fun team this year. I really like the Patriots.
The defense stood up when it needed to. Drake May had a terrible interception.
Yes.
I don't know if you saw that. He was rolling right, trying to go to find somebody in the back of the end zone, and Patriots defender steps in front of it. I think the Patriots defense, the Buccaneers defense steps in front of a Drake May pass, and Baker has the ball down, less than a score to get a chance to take the lead, and the defense stood up, I think twice towards the end of that game, and told Baker and Egbuka and their offense, they held them and they didn't allow them to win. So Drake May looks good, but also defense helps you win games. So they've been helping the Patriots win the games a lot.
I heard a interesting comment about Mike Vrabel during the game. I forget who the sideline reporter was during that game, but she was talking about how Vrabel has changed his persona to where in Tennessee, he's still a player's coach. I mean, he relates well with the players. He's a really good player's coach. But she mentioned how people were talking about how he's different from when he was at Tennessee. Tennessee, he really didn't like getting like into players and like trying to motivate them more that way. But he's doing that with New England, and it is a completely different variable where, yes, he's still a player's coach, but hey, he'll rip into that rear end if he needs to, and it just seems like he is a different coach here in New England, and it is showing.
Yeah, Ravens, back-to-back wins with Lamar in the lineup. They win there. The Jets have picked up their second win, their first at home. The Saints, hey, pretty convincing win there in Carolina. So Carolina went from you don't want to play them at home to, hey, you don't want to play them all. If they're the road team, as the Saints go in there and win. A good come-from-behind win for Jacksonville there, for Houston over Jacksonville home. They scored 26. They were down 29-10. In the fourth quarter, scored 26 unanswered. Pretty impressive there. Seattle's just doing what Seattle does.
Jeez, it was like, 35-0 in like the second quarter?
38-7 going in the half.
Yeah.
The Lions win at the Commanders, no shock there. The Chargers, really good win against Pittsburgh. The Rams beat the 49ers, frankly not shocked there even in San Francisco. They're just... They're hanging on by a thread. The fact they're 6-4 is still a miracle to me.
They tried to come back in that game.
They tried. I mean, Mac Jones was 33 of 39, and you lost by 16 points.
Yeah. I heard an analogy of the Commanders' defense yesterday that says if it was 3rd and 75, they'd get 76. I mean, the Commanders' defense has been rough this year, and I'll tell you, I think the Lions have started to figure things out again because they had a bit of a rough start to the year, had that loss to Green Bay, and boy, ever since then, Jahmyr Gibbs has figured it out. Jared Goff's having another good season. The Lions look really, really good.
Yeah.
They do. Don't give up on Dan Campbell's teams. They'll find a way.
So here's the schedule for next week, guys. So Thursday, New York at New England. You got Washington at Miami, Carolina at Atlanta, Tampa at Buffalo, Houston at Tennessee, Chicago at Minnesota, Green Bay at New York, the Giants, that is, the Bengals at the Steelers, Chargers at Jacksonville, Seattle at the Rams, San Francisco at Arizona, Baltimore at Cleveland, Kansas City at Denver, Detroit at Philly, Monday night's Dallas at Vegas. So what is the cheapest game to get into? And we have got a new season low this season with 2 games fighting tooth and nail to win that one.
Is it Houston, Tennessee?
That is the second cheapest at $14.
Jeez.
There's a game cheaper than that to get into on Sunday.
Let me go back and look at the schedule.
This has nothing to do with the game, but we're going to find out who's who with the NFC next week. Like Lions and Eagles, and then good. Seahawks, Rams. Like those are
good.
Really the top 4 contenders right now in the NFC.
That could be, Detroit, Philly. That could be an NFC preview.
Yep, could be.
Yeah, and Seattle, and still, the Rams giving the Niners a loss there is only their first loss in the division.
Yeah,
but. Like we said last week, they don't get their bye week till like the second week.
Yeah, it's a ways away.
When you're an injured team, that's a brutal schedule to have.
Is it Ravens Browns?
It is.
Ravens
the other one was going to be the Raiders one.
I was like, Commanders Dolphins. No, that's in Madrid.
The Raiders one is $322. That is the most expensive game of the week because it's the Cowboys.
It's at Las Vegas.
They have a
nice.
So nice Baltimore stadium. And Cleveland is $11. That is the cheapest game to get into on the secondary market this year.
I could see that. Who wants to go watch the Browns play?
It's 60 and sunny, so it wouldn't be too miserable, other than the fact you have to watch the Ravens and the Browns.
I mean, it's 47 outside of the Titans. It's 47 to see Carolina and Atlanta, and then the Chargers at Jacksonville's 57. Everything else is like 85 and above to get into. So,
how much was that Browns? What did you say? 12. $11.
14 to get into the Titans game. 11 to get into the Baltimore at the Browns.
You could I would guarantee you that if you got that ticket, you're probably paying more concessions for the ticket.
You're paying more for parking.
Than the ticket. The parking's probably like $30 or something. Yeah.
I would think for a bad team.
Yeah.
I guess the only way it could go up, there's been some rumors about maybe Shador starting because Gabriel hasn't He looked rough. So I guess maybe if a bunch of Browns fans want to see Shedeur Sanders, if he somehow gets to start, maybe they'll sell him a few more tickets. I don't think that's going to happen, but I don't know.
We'll see. Well, guys, coming up tomorrow, we'll play some Keep 'em or Dump 'em, and plus it's Trivia Tuesday. I got to find something to stump these guys. I've been doing pretty good lately.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
He's got me.
All right, so we'll have that coming up tomorrow at 1:30 sharp. Hit the right button.
Going the distance with local sports. This